Hello, I am Naomi van Stralen, a PhD candidate at the Interaction Design Group of the University of Twente in the Netherlands. As part of my PhD research, I developed a transdisciplinary design methodology that facilitates lifestyle changes using self-reflection, personal values, and experienced health. In this video, I will tell you more about why this methodology was developed and its methods and activities. I will also tell you about a case study that we did together with citizens, along with a reflection on 1. How the methodology facilitated in creating lifestyle changes, and 2. How it allowed to do so in personal ways. Let's begin with the bigger picture. Worldwide, prosperity is growing, but that also means more people are facing health problems linked to their lifestyles. With easy access to snacks, comfortable living, and a variety of foods at home, unhealthy habits are on the rise. Life expectancy is increasing, but this does not always mean that all extra years are lived in good health. Diseases like diabetes and obesity are becoming more common and are calling for a shift from healthcare treatment towards prevention. This means that individuals are expected to take more charge over their own health. This can be very difficult, especially for people who do not have access to the financial resources or knowledge to enjoy a healthy lifestyle. Even when people try to take control of their health, this can be very challenging. Things like choosing a healthy snack, doing yoga, or aiming to do 10,000 steps a day can be hard to keep up with, especially in the often busy context of our daily life. There are many technologies that are designed to support people in gaining insights in their health, so-called personal health technologies. These include, for example, apps, smartwatches, or websites. The goal is to help people live a healthier life by focusing on trackable data like heart rate, weight, and exercise. These numbers can be turned into scores like a sleep score or an activity score. This helps people work towards better health by comparing their data to themselves and the normative population. The focus is often on optimizing your health and living an efficient, objectively healthy life. Although helpful, they can still be challenging for people to use. Where to start, which tool to buy, and how to make sense of the data. These technologies don't work for everyone and can fit every person's unique view of health. To investigate how a healthy life can be made accessible and motivating for a larger part of society supported by technology, this research is part of a consortium called Healthy Living as a Service. In this consortium, people look at a challenge from 9 different perspectives, with a goal to contribute to a more sustainable and healthy society. My research focuses on people and what matters to them. I engage citizens to better understand their objectives and values, and use these insights to inform the tools that we design. As I mentioned earlier, people often experience their health in different ways, and this is influenced by different things. Experienced health differs from our measurable objective health. Experienced health is about how we feel, our personal sense of well-being. Improving how people experience their health can lead to better overall well-being and even affect our objective health. Our experience is also influenced by our material and social environment. The spaces we live in, the objects we interact with, and the people around us all influence how we see and manage our health. Next to these outside influences, our health is also shaped by our personal values. Values guide in making daily choices, affecting how we prioritize and take care of our health. Combined, these key aspects can be described as our health identity. The concept of health identity is still evolving in research. In this study, we used it as a framework to develop a methodology that helps people make meaningful lifestyle changes, which we applied in a case study. The results and insights from the collected data from the case study will not be addressed in this presentation. Today, we only focus on the methodology itself. That leads us to the first question. How did the methodology facilitate in shaping these personalized lifestyle changes that support health and well-being? To answer this, I will first explain the overall approach and the different methods and activities involved. The methodology follows a transdisciplinary approach, by not only using information from different academic fields, but also by involving citizens to collect different perspectives and real-life experiences in the execution of the methods. It's also participatory. Instead of giving participants strict instructions, they were provided with activities that they could apply in ways that were useful for them. This allowed them to actively contribute to the process, making the research more relevant to their personal experiences. Additionally, we used a mixed method approach, combining different methods to explore health identity. These include interviews, questionnaires, probes, and a card deck, all designed to help participants reflect on their health identity and determine their own direction for change. Before we dive into the methods, let me tell you something about the citizens that participated in this research. For this research, I worked with 13 participants over a period of 9 months. Each participant joined individually and participated for approximately 3 months. The first started in May 2024 and the last finished in January 2025, resulting in 50 interviews. We aimed to involve a diverse group of participants and actively promoted the research outside of academia by placing promotional material in community centers, libraries, and supermarkets. This helped us reach participants between 30 and 75 years old with a variety of backgrounds, including those in paid employment, entrepreneurship, voluntary work, retirement, and some unable to work full-time. They also had different educational backgrounds and life situations, bringing unique perspectives to the table. By involving such a variety of citizens, we were able to gather a richer understanding of how people responded to the activities, what worked for them, and how we can further refine the methodologies to support meaningful lifestyle changes. When a participant decided to join the research, we met for a first session. To make participating as accessible as possible, people were given the choice to come to the university or meet somewhere closer to their home, for example at their workplace, or online if necessary. During the first session, participants reflected on their health identity using a probe, a card deck, and a positive health questionnaire. Based on these methods, they set personal objectives to integrate into their daily lives over the next 3 months to support their health and well-being. I checked in with them after a week and again after a month to see how they were doing and whether any adjustments were needed. These check-ins were not about collecting data, but about supporting their process. After the second check-in, there was no contact for 2 months to observe whether participants would continue with their objectives independently. At the end of the 3 months, we had a final session, preferably in person, to evaluate their experience, ideas, and assess whether they experienced any changes or improvements in their health and well-being. Let's have a look at what the methods for the first session looked like in practice. Participants begin by focusing on one key element of health identity, their material and social environment. Using a probe, they reflect on what matters to them in different places, considering their home, neighborhood, city, region, country, and even the world. This helps them understand their current context and position themselves within it. What they choose to write down is entirely up to them. It could be something concrete, like an object or activity, or something more abstract, like a personal value connected to these different spaces. Next, they think about what will be important to them later. What later means is left open for them to define, based on what feels realistic and relevant from where they are in life. After this, they move on to the second key aspect of health identity, personal values. They reflect on what their personal values are, using a card deck containing 57 values, translated to Dutch, and based on Schwartz's theory of values. The values are left open enough for participants to interpret the values in different ways. They select the cards that resonate with them, considering the previous activity, and then organize them in a way that makes sense for them. They are also free to write down new values if they feel like something is missing from the card deck. At this point, participants have mapped out their surroundings and personal values, setting the stage for the last aspect, experienced health. They complete a positive health questionnaire developed by the Institute of Positive Health. This questionnaire helps them evaluate their experience of health across multiple dimensions, including physical and mental well-being, which are more common aspects of health, but also meaningfulness, quality of life, participation, and daily functioning, to create a broader view of health. At the end, the participant mapped this experience in an overview to reflect on where they would like opportunities for change. By combining the insights of these key elements, participants created personal objectives to take home and integrate into their daily lives. To support this process, they wrote each objective on a card and received a small engraved cardboard box. They could place their objectives either on top of the box as a visible reminder or inside of it for more privacy. How they used it and where they placed it was entirely up to them. So far, we've explored how the methodology helps shape personalized lifestyle changes for health and well-being. Now, let's look at how it allows for personal interaction and interpretation. Even though all participants follow the same activities, they engage with them in different ways, leading to unique and meaningful objectives. In the next part, I'll highlight these differences by zooming in on 3 aspects. First, how participants personalize the methods. Then, how they shaped objectives that fit their personal context. And lastly, how they integrated these objectives into their daily life. Let's start with the first exercise, exploring the material and social environment. There are 2 examples of how participants completed the exercise, beginning with what's important to them now. Right away, we see differences. One person used keywords, while the other wrote in full sentences. When we add the layer of what's important later, we see even more variation. The first participant focused on one change, shifting hiking and walking from around the house to all the way across the country. The second participant reflected on multiple changes across different locations, including both things they want to change and things that will change beyond their control. Furthermore, their timeframes were also different. For one, later meant in the next 3 months, but for the other, it meant 10 years. This shows how each person shaped the exercises in a way that was relevant to them. Now, looking at the second exercise, which is about choosing and organizing personal values, we see even more variation. Not only did participants select very different values, but they also structured them in unique ways. For example, one participant created a hierarchical structure, building from foundational values at the bottom, progressing layer by layer until ultimately reaching higher values at the top. Another participant took a person-centered approach, placing themselves at the center and dividing values into categories. What is important to me, what matters in my relationships, and how it all connects. For them, that connection was having fun. Then, here's another example, where the structure is less rigid, with values forming many different connections. Before we move on, I would like to mention that about half of the participants chose to write down extra values beyond those provided in the card deck, showing how participants did not feel restricted to only use the cards that were right in front of them. The third exercise, being a questionnaire, is more structured. This does not mean there's no room for adaptation. As you can see here, some participants still chose to write something down when they felt inspired or saw an opportunity for their health. Even though this method is less open-ended, it plays a crucial role in connecting to the complexity of previous exercises. It helps participants pinpoint what's truly contributing to their health in a meaningful way. It also helps to broaden their understanding of health. With these 3 exercises completed, participants now have a clear sense of what matters to them and where they would like to make changes. They formulate this into objectives that will help them reach the change they would like to experience. Here are some examples. This participant set 2 very different goals: dedicating an hour each week to contributing to world peace, but also committing to eating a piece of fruit every day. Others focused on involving people around them, like supporting their partner in attending yoga or going home early 3 times a week to have dinner with the family. Each objective was entirely self-formulated, personally meaningful, and deeply connected to their health identity. Then it came to integrating their objectives at home. People approach this in different ways. Most people place a cardboard box with their objectives on a desk or table as a subtle reminder, especially if they kept the cards inside. One person, however, chose to repurpose the box during their participation already by using it for their pencil shavings. For another participant, having written down their objectives made it feel like an obligation, something they had to do, rather than wanted to do. To remove that pressure, they tore up the cards and threw them away. Yet they still worked towards their objectives. Looking back at this whole process, we see that while everyone followed the same exercises, they engaged with them in very different ways. In this video, I've discussed the transdisciplinary design methodology that was developed to empower citizens to shape their own lifestyle changes, using health identity as a foundation. We explored how the methodology helped create personal objectives and how it allowed for individual interpretation throughout the process. The goal was not just to collect data, but also to bring something to the participants by providing them with meaningful insights, something they could take with them and continue working on, even after their participation had ended. Looking at the bigger picture, we see that people created objectives that fit with their health identity, using the methods provided in this methodology. This approach helps shape technology to support a society that prioritizes prevention and enhances well-being. However, this also raises an important question. Is technology really always the best solution? At the start of this research, the intended application was to inform personal health technology specifically, but in the end, this entire methodology was executed without any health technology involved. Of course, for some, it can be a valuable tool. It helps people to gain objective health insights, track progress, and see whether their experienced health objectives are making a measurable difference. But for others, it could be an extra step, one they might not have the resources or desire to take. Therefore, a mix between technology and other tools might be a more realistic view instead. So you might be wondering, what happens next? Well, this research isn't over yet. The work described in this presentation was only the first phase. Over the next year, we'll continue exploring how this methodology could be developed into a tool that can be scaled up for more people to use. We will involve co-design sessions with participants of this study, project partners of the consortium, and other citizens and experts. As for what shape or format it will take, that is still to be determined. Are you curious about the results and insights from the methods? Or do you like the topic of this research and would you like to connect? I'm always open to learn more, have a conversation, and get inspired, so feel free to reach out. Thank you.